It's working smarter, not harder, and the same should be true for your dating life. We have certified sex coach Kristen Thomas here to help. Now, we've talked a little bit about dating before with you. I want to talk about specifically online dating today because it seems to be like how a lot of people meet their significant others anymore. What are some red flags that we should be looking out for in the world of online dating?
Well, people that are pretty experienced with online dating will probably know most of these, but you know, there's a lot of people who have been in long-term relationships and are starting to get back out in the dating scene.
Yeah.
So like no profile picture. If they don't have much of an explanation about what they're looking for, what they want on their profile, if they can't just take the time to say what they're looking for on the profile, they're probably not going to be able to do it in person. Things like they're saying a lot of really negative things or they're belittling other people. And really, truly, this might not be really a red flag, but just if they're not into the same things that you're into, don't waste your time.
Don't waste your time trying to make it work.
Yes.
Here's another thing I want to talk about, because everybody has an online profile, whether it's, you know, a dating app or a Facebook, Instagram, whatever.
A digital
How
footprint.
hard is it to keep that dating profile separate from your online footprint? And because again, I mean, I'm married. I'm not out dating on the online site, and thank God I never had to do so because I'm getting anxiety just thinking about it right now. But if you're trying to online date somebody, and then how hard is it not to go stalk their Facebook profile to try to get like an idea of what they like?
Good question. I think there's a balance. You should definitely be able to find that person online. Like you say, most people have a digital footprint. So at least maybe go verify that they are who they are, that you know the name they're giving you is who they are. But don't dig so deeply that you feel like you create this whole persona or image of who they are. Try to get to know them in person rather than through their profiles on Facebook and Instagram.
So I saw your second cousin back in 2007 did this, or the wedding, exactly, that you went to 30 years ago. Crazy. Okay, let's say you made that connection though in the dating profile. How do we start taking those steps towards the first date?
I think that first of all, you've just got to have the confidence to ask for the date. If you want to go on a date, ask them.
Does it matter men or women?
Doesn't matter, men or women. However, if you ask, you are probably going to be the one to pay. So keep that in mind, ladies. That's okay. But don't message endlessly back and forth. I think that the first date should happen pretty quickly. You know, time and circumstance can be one thing, but don't message back and forth for months and months and months.
Yeah. A lot of times people think that dates are like an interrogation where you're just like, I'm asking you questions. I want to know this. But how do we make it feel less like that and more like an organic like relationship? Like a real conversation? Like a real conversation,
rather than a job interview?
Exactly.
Well, the art of conversation really is something that you have to practice. It's the polite thing to do to ask a question and then wait for a response from them and then respond yourself and kind of go back and forth. You can also look at something called 36 questions to get to know each other better. It was developed to help people just get to know each other on a more like humane level. And there are things about like, what's your fondest memory? What's your, do you think you secretly know how you're going to die? They can be fun conversation starters, even if you don't go through the entire list.
Okay. Well, let's get to the next level. You're a certified sex coach here, and now, especially going back to the situation you talked about at the beginning, you know, people who had been in long-term relationships, those relationships have ended. We're now stepping back out into the dating pool. How do you talk intimacy on like a second relationship after a long relationship with a new partner? What does that conversation look like? Because that seems like something you'd have to really tread lightly into.
I think that new couples should talk about intimacy before they get into the bedroom. I actually saw a really great TED Talk a few years ago from Al Vernaccio called Sex Needs a New Metaphor. We often compare intimacy to sports, especially baseball, bases, things
First,
like
second,
that.
third.
Yes, exactly. Well, let's change it to talking about it the way we do pizza. You probably like a wide variety of pizza. So
I do like lots of pizza.
So, but you don't know if you like the same things on your pizza unless you talk about it. So in talking about what you like and talking about what you want before you get into the bedroom, you're talking about several things. You're talking about what you consent to and what you don't. You're talking about your boundaries. People often think that consent talk these days that's so important isn't very sexy, but it really can be when you're talking about what you like and what you might want to try or what you want to do with each other.
And as much as you want to think that it's going to be like it is in the movies, you know, the music is not going to swell as he sweeps her off her feet and heads toward the bedroom or anything like that, right?
Just magically works.
It's not how it works. So the conversation and talk ahead is a great idea. Kristen, we appreciate your time as always. Thank you for those good tips leading into Valentine's Day.